Good morning, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, whatever time it is that you're listening to this. It might be evening. Doesn't matter. Welcome to another episode. This is episode 11 of the Freight Be Moving All Things Logistics podcast with me, Jewel Williams, and I am happy to be here again another day to share, care, love, and all that good stuff and above. So I want to start off today. You know, I like to start off with a little wisdom and philosophy. And today we're going to continue the conversation of talking about the business of logistics. So I want to start off with a little something I was reading, and it just struck me that this would go well with this topic. So I was reading in the John Maxwell book, and he talks about to grow anything, you need the right environment. So John outlines in his book, this book is the 15 invaluable laws of growth that you need. So he talks about having the right soil to grow in, the right air to breathe in, and the right climate to live in. And with that, I'm going to add, you need the right information to make decisions and the skill of discernment to take logical steps in your freight company. This is a very fragmented industry. Though we like to have it go smooth and we do those pickups, we get that pickup order at pickup request and we go straight to the destination. There's no hiccups, and we drive to the delivery. There's no hiccups, and then we send off our money and send off our proof of delivery. There's no hiccups. We receive our proof of delivery. There's no hiccups. We would love it to be so smooth, but that is not the case. So with that, in times like these, this is a great time to begin to figure out your long-term strategy. And I've been talking about that all week, your long-term strategy. So I want to read, Eugene Lee wrote in his 2017 paper that a strategy can be considered merely a selected set of actions that are intended to produce a specified outcome. Now, the definition of logistics is the detailed coordination of a complex operation involving many people, facilities, and supplies. Sounds to me that a strategy is a form of logistics. It's an implied form of logistics. So what's the connection here? Your actions need to be logical, and to achieve a specified outcome, to create logical actions, you need a clear understanding of the situation. What is going on? Why is it happening? Who's involved? Where is all the decision making, or where's all the different parts and pieces of this situation? Where is it all happening at? You know, getting that level, those different levels of views I've talked about in several of my videos, having that satellite view, that bird's eye view, and that ground view. And then how can you as a business owner create those specific actions so that you can pivot or create better cash flow, minimize cash flow, gather new customers? Somebody is always entering the market. Somebody is always coming in. And I say this because looking at a lot of the data, we're growing. As an economy, we've grown. As, you know, business scenario that we're in right now, it has grown. However, certain elements in the market, like the spot rate market, give an indication that there's no growth. And that is just one element of the big picture. Spot rates do not dictate the entire landscape of the transportation industry. So to base a decision of whether or not your business can stay viable or be in business based solely on the spot rate market, that's not enough information to make a sound decision. One thing I can say that is factual, and I think you all can agree, as long as humans need food, there is transportation. That's you can't even argue with that. As long as humans need food, there will be transportation. So according to Grandview Research, a report that they wrote says the global public transportation market size value in 2021 equaled $206 billion. Now that's just the transportation market. That's not the, if you include manufacturers, if you include wholesalers, that's just what the transportation is moving around in money wise. Now, according to Dean Croak he's a DAT analyst, he stated to the Journal of Commerce that there were 9,000 carriers that applied for a trucking authority in July of 2022. That right there tells you that people believe that the market is still growing. People believe that there is money still in the market. So why would we think that the market is completely obliterated based on spot rates? Spot rates are just one element of the market, and they're dictated not just by capacity. There's more to why the spot rate market is fluctuating, why it is. However, most of the information that you're receiving is coming from sources that are not always primary sources, not even secondary sources. They're tertiary sources, and we're going to talk about that. So to create a logical strategy, it is vital to have intelligent information about the total market in which you are doing business. So you have to do more research. Social media is a great gathering for feedback. It's great to hear other people's experiences. It's great to hear other people's stories because you can relate to their situation and use some discernment as to what they're saying and how much of it applies to you. You can't take their story and apply it to your situation and then that be the end all. You got to pull in more information. Always be gathering information. Expand where you're getting your information from. As a business owner, that is critical. The closer you are to the source, the better you are to the source. Now, I like to use a couple sources that I like to gather my information from. And there's three sources. I touched on one. There's three sources that you should be, when you're gathering information, you should be categorizing your sources in these three categories. Is it primary? Is it a secondary source? Or is it tertiary? Your primary source is your customer. Your primary source is your shippers, because those are the people that you're dealing with. So when you are trying to establish what the overall tone of the market is, what the overall volume of the market is, reach out to your customers. If you don't have any customers, per se, if let's say you are entering into a new field and you don't have anybody that you've ever talked with, reach out, and you can find sources like on the Small Business Association might have some articles, but Google articles like the Journal of Commerce, the Wall Street Journal. Those two sources I use because they give me what I would consider as close to primary information. Most of it's actually secondary, but it's as close to the primary information as I can get. Because I know that journalists have to use diligence when they are writing their reports. It's mandatory. To be a journalist, you've got to do your fact checking. You just can't go out here and just write. And if you are using other sources, then you need to cite those sources, and your editor should be double checking and fact checking. So that's why I like to use the Journal of Commerce, and I like to use the Wall Street Journal, because I know that their journalists, their integrity ranking is very high on my book. I have not seen anything to tell me that otherwise. Your secondary sources will be your bloggers. Also, you will have people that just do little snippets of pieces of information on YouTube, but I would validate that. I would say most of your YouTubers are tertiary sources, meaning it's been filtered a few times. And I find that a lot of the YouTube information that I hear is opinionated based on the lens in which they're filtering that through. And their lenses that they're filtering that through is their own personal experiences, how they have interpreted today, what has gone on in their personal lives, how they feel about their bosses, how they feel about their spouses, and how they felt just driving around in traffic. All those things are taking place and adding to a lot of the YouTube commentary that you see. So, yes, I am a YouTuber. However, I do my best because I have a communications background and I understand the importance of primary, secondary, and tertiary information. I do my diligence to make sure that I'm digging my information up from viable sources. So let me give you some good tips to help with your business as you face this economic crunch of transportation spot rates and fuel dilemmas and all that stuff. Let me give you some tips. I'm going to give you 3 tips that this is what I use in my day-to-day. First tip is gather clear, factual information from primary or secondary sources. Like I said before, I use the Journal of Commerce and the Wall Street Journal. For business, the sections are in their business sections to find good articles about what is going on with the ports, what is going on with transportation companies, and all that good stuff. As I said before, journalists have to do fact checking. So make sure that those journalists that you are reading with, they're actual journalists. Now, I'm going to tell you a story real quick. And this recently happened to me. So I was going to attend a specific conference. I actually wanted to speak at the conference, and I was going to attend this conference. And I'm not going to name the conference because I really don't want to be damaging to their reputation. But anyway, I wanted to attend this conference, and I paid my fees to the conference, and I got a letter saying that I wasn't the demographic. I'm using air quotes. I got a letter, and I also got had a conversation with the individual that told me I wasn't part of their demographic for the conference, that I could not attend the conference. And I was kind of taken back because I was like, wow, I'm in transportation, I'm in logistics, and this is a conference about that. So I started doing some digging, and I started doing some research about this organization because I was kind of taken aback at the fact that you could send me an email inviting me to the conference, but then you can retract the fact that I wasn't your demographic for the conference. And what I found out was this company was not a company that was actively engaging in day-to-day logistics and transportation transactions. This company was actually a media company. They were actually producing content, magazines, podcasts, blog posts for the sole purpose of building a mousetrap to attract executives to come into their environment so that those executives can be solicited to. Now, there is nothing wrong with what they were doing, but my point to this story is not everybody that is producing content is producing content from a factual they've worked in it, they've been in it, everybody that's around them is really a part of the industry itself. That they are producing content for the sole purpose of ad dollars. That's it, ad dollars. Behind the scenes, it's just about ad dollars. Now, there are some conventions that are put on by companies that are in the transportation and logistics field. And the people that are on those boards are on the board because they are in the transportation and logistics field. And they know the importance of having that conversation with other supply chain management, logistics management professionals so that they can elevate the problems so that they can be solved versus somebody who strictly has built an organization with the only purpose of getting information, primary information, and actually I would say secondary information, and turning it into tertiary information for the sole purpose of attracting ad dollars or executives into their house. So that's why I say when you're gathering your information, gather factual information, seek primary sources of information. When you're gathering your information to build your business, and make sure that the people giving you that information are people who have some type of, I would say, person of leadership that has been in the situation. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Now, talk to your customers and ask them what problems are consistently bothering them. If you are a driver working with a broker, have a conversation with the broker about the rates. Ask for transparency. Now, what does ask for transparency mean? 9 times out of 10, a broker's not going to tell you that they're taking 40% off the top. They're not. I know you would like them to do that, but they're not. So when I say transparency, have that conversation like, hey, I've seen my rates, if you're tracking your rates, and you should be as a driver, you should be tracking, last year this time, I took 10 loads and I was getting $6 a load. A year ago, now later, I'm only getting $2 a load. I've dropped $4. Have you seen the same trend? And what have you done? How are you negotiating for me, the driver? How are you negotiating with the shipper? You use it as a way to talk business to business because you're both business owners. Now, if you're talking to an agent, 9 times out of 10, an agent may not know. If you're talking to a dispatcher, they may not be paying attention to it either. The level of experience that you're working with is going to be key. So try not to be fussy. Now, once you gather your data, analyze it, what you found, and use critical thinking to identify the gold. Looking for the gold. You're a business person. Look for the gold so that you can weather this storm. Use some discernment. Filter through that. Okay? Just like when people went panning for gold and they dipped their pan into the water and they kind of sifted it out until they saw something sparkly. But even then, was it fool's gold? They had to look at it real close, inspect it. That's the same type of mentality you want to do with your information. Sift through that information to find the nuggets that's going to benefit your business now during this time of shifting. And ask yourself where you want to position yourself. If you've only got one truck, that's your only asset, you have a higher risk than most people who have 10 trucks as far as surviving in your business. Because if you break down, you don't have any other recourse other than if you have relationships with another organization that can give you a rental or another trailer or what have you. So you have to also think about that when you are talking with your brokers and your customers and your shippers. They're also evaluating the risk of you not being in the market due to the fact that you're only one asset, one truck, one person. So start leveraging relationships with other drivers. Start leveraging relationships with your brokers. Start leveraging relationship with your shippers in a way to position yourself so that if certain things happen, you can leverage your business and keep it moving. So this is going to be a short podcast today. I hope this information was helpful to you. I hope you enjoyed my little story. And I hope that while you are in this time, just stay focused and understand that if you're in the right soil, if you're breathing the right air, if you've got the conditions of your environment around you solid, and you're pulling in good, clear information, then you will grow. You will grow. It's inevitable. You will grow. Look outside you and you will see probably some flower or something, or tree or something that you're like, man, that thing is growing in the most horrible conditions. They don't pay it no mind. They filter through all the stuff that they don't need, and they make sure that they get the right essence to continue to grow. And I encourage you to do the same thing. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to wrap it up. And if you are out there driving, yes, that's my little slogan. If you're out there driving, whether you are a four-wheeler or you are 18, I'm going to need you to be safe. Get home safe. Drive safe. Be chill. Be cool. Be calm and collected. All that traffic around you is going to go away. Tune in to another podcast. Tune in to some of the music. That traffic's just going to go away. You're just going to keep cruising. And tonight, when you lay down in your bed, you're going to say you made it. All right. Have a blessed day. Let's get that music popping.